Hello everybody, hope you're all keeping well. As some of you who watch the channel or watched my videos previously may have been aware, I've had an awful lot of comments on my videos recently, which is fantastic. Sorry if I haven't got round to replying to yours. I had to kind of stop replying to some of the ones on the videos I made about casino streamers, purely because of the amount of them, but I do really appreciate your input. But one topic that came up time and time again in these comments that I really wanted to talk about today was about personal responsibility. This is often used in defence of streamers, or whatever, defence, if you will, of casino streamers, and saying that actually it's not down to them, it's not down to the casinos, it's not down to the regulators, it's down to personal responsibility. We are the reason we gamble. No one's got a gun to our heads to force us to gamble, and therefore, it's our fault rather than the fault of anyone else. Now, by and large, I would agree with you. I do agree that there should be better regulation. I think there should be better regulation across the industry for providers, for marketers, for promoters, for affiliates. I think there should be better regulation, full stop, across the board. But I do agree that actually the responsibility ultimately falls to us. There is no gun to our heads. We make that decision to gamble. Now, whether that is a fully conscious decision, or whether that's a decision that's kind of built on an urge or on an addiction, it's still our decision. We still have the power to say, no, I'm not going to gamble. We still have full control over our what we do, over our actions. And I agree that if you have a gambling addiction, avoiding gambling, resisting gambling through willpower alone is incredibly difficult. I know one person who has successfully been in recovery for a few months based on willpower alone. But I also know loads of people, and people have told me in the comments and conversations I've had with people who have tried to quit on the basis of willpower alone. I count myself amongst those, and have failed time after time after time. So yes, we do have to take responsibility for our actions. But what I want to say is actually that when you're stood in front of that fob tee, when you're there with the online casino open, hovering over the deposit button, or you're standing by the fruit machine in the pub, that is not the time to have control over your actions, because at that time there's a good chance that the willpower, that the urge, that the addiction is going to be stronger, particularly in the pub scenario where maybe you've had a couple of beers and your resolve is a little bit lower, where the addiction and the urge is going to be stronger than any will to continue to quit, to stay in your recovery. And at that point, yes, it is your responsibility. Yes, you do still have control over your actions. But the best time to take responsibility for your actions is before you even find yourself in that situation, before you find yourself going to deposit at a casino, before you find yourself in the bookies, buying fob tea, putting money in. Because we know as addicts that it's not always possible, or it's certainly very difficult to control yourself at that point. If you can take responsibility for your actions before you get yourself into a situation where gambling is likely to occur, then you have a far higher chance of success. And what I'm talking about here, of course, is what we've talked about many times before, talking about the block. So the self-exclusion online, putting GamStop in place to stop yourself from gambling anywhere online. Self-exclusion from either local bookies or using the National Self-Exclusion Scheme. Talking to people, building up a support network, letting your friends know, letting your drinking buddies know that you are a gambling addict and you're in recovery and you are staying away from gambling. Talk to people. Do everything you can. Everything that was talked about in all my other videos, and I won't go over it time and time again. But that is the point at which to take responsibility for your future actions. Take responsibility when you're sober, so to speak, when you have no urges, when you're in a very straight, sensible frame of mind. That's the time to take responsibility, because it's much easier to take practical measures in advance to stop yourself from gambling when the situation occurs, than it is to stop yourself when you're in the moment, when you have that feeling of anticipation, that dopamine rush, and you're there in a situation where gambling is very available and very easy. I know this from past experience very quickly, just to wrap this up. I used to gamble a lot on the stupid digital terminals in pubs, with the ones that replace basic fruit machines. And that was my last avenue of gambling, because I'd bought myself online, I bought myself the fob teas and stuff. And, I could be standing in front of that machine or by that machine, and if I've got cash in my pocket, then there's so little barrier between you and gambling. And the urges and maybe a lack of resolve because you've had a couple of beers, and the dopamine hit you get from that sort of anticipation you get from gambling, which is sometimes more powerful than the dopamine hit you actually get from gambling itself. It doesn't balance and you find yourself gambling. If in advance I'd spoken to the people in the pub, as I have done. If I didn't take cash to the pub, and so if I did want to play the machines, I'd have to go out and find an ATM or whatever. Then, I put blocks in place. I have, basically taken responsibility for my own actions in advance. Because taking responsibility for your own actions at the time that an addiction urge strikes is incredibly difficult. Let me know your thoughts anyway. Cheers for watching this video. Do appreciate all the support, all the new subscribers. Lovely stuff. Great to see, and great to see such a community being built. I really appreciate it. And I will catch you on the next one, guys. Have a great day.